Well, welcome everyone to Real Fellas Talk Sports. Here I am again with my fellas, and we're going to cut up a week of sports. And I'll tell you something, there's been an amazing week of sports with football, college football, some baseball, obviously, with the World Series, the NBA, what a start it has had. So we're going to touch on that. And so we got a lot to do, big appetite of stuff. So before we get started, though, I'm going to introduce the smartest panel in TV sports or podcast sports. And I'm going to start with Mr. David Burnett from where, David? The epicenter of sports, absolutely the center of all of it, Indianapolis, Indiana. David, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for acknowledging the sports capital of the country and of the world. By the way, the NCAA championships will be held in Indianapolis in April. Just wanted to make sure that mention was received. Anyway, I'm just glad to be here.
Ain't no pushing back on him this week, that's for sure. And listen, one of the guys who hit that thing the longest and right down the fairway, Mr. Gregory Fenner. How you doing, big fella? Greg,
it's all good. I'm doing great. As a matter of fact, I played 9 holes today, and I didn't miss a fairway. Didn't miss one. But let me tell you, sports is so great right now. I am in sensory overload. It's so much going on, and I'm loving it every day.
I swear. I don't even know if we're gonna get a chance to get into the gambling piece, but yes, that's on the docket as well. And a gentleman that I've known for 60 years, what we call him actually the voice of reason. One of the classiest guys I know, Mr. Larry Abels. Good evening, sir. How you doing? And how you feeling?
I'm feeling well. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. Right back at you.
Thank you, my friend. All right. Well, look, we're going to get right into the NFL. It wasn't a lot of great games on the NFL this week. However, there were some bounce back teams. Teams like the Dolphins bounced back, got a win. The Jets got off the snide. They got a win. The Ravens got off the mat, and they got a win. But we're going to focus on 3 specific games. And those 3 specific games are the Cowboys and the Broncos, the Packers and the Steelers, and the Ravens and the Bears. All right? And we'll start off with the Cowboys and the Broncos. First of all, the Broncos won 44-24, I think. 44-24, I think. Broncos look good. They're tough at home. They're undefeated there. Larry, what were your thoughts on that specific game?
Dallas's offense and the quarterback in particular have been playing very well. Had a horrible game yesterday. I was actually thinking Dallas was going to at least be much more competitive, but certainly Dak throwing horrible interceptions. I got to take my hat off to Denver. They kind of bounced back after the Giants game and played 60 minutes of football and took care of Dallas.
What a great draft pick they've had with Bo Nix. Bo was the 12th pick in the draft last year, I think, the 24 draft. He's been a good addition for Denver. Denver is doing. I know that's not David's favorite, and we'll get to you, David. I know that's not your most famous coach, but he's doing a good job in Denver, isn't he, David?
Are you asking me to acknowledge the Denver coach? I'm not even going to say his name.
Okay, we're talking about the game.
Bo Nix is playing fairly well. Denver has a pretty good defense. They're a better team than Dallas. We expect always every year that Dallas is supposed to rise up out of the ashes and do something magnificent because they are America's team. Well, they're not. They're not. America's team is in Kansas City right now. That's where they are. Dallas doesn't have a very good defense. They let go of one of the great pass rushers of many decades, and Michael Parsons. They're struggling, and they're going to continue to struggle. And at some point, Dak Prescott is going to be Dak Prescott. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's not great. Sorry.
Greg, all season long, the Cowboys' offense has been pretty awesome, though. Their defense has been a sieve, but their offense has been solid. And I agree with Larry. I thought Dak finally had a bad game. What was your thoughts about that game yesterday?
So Dak Prescott has these moments of brilliance, and then he throws an interception in the red zone to a defensive lineman. Like, I don't even know how that happened. And this guy just, lineman or linebacker, and he just rumbled about 60 yards. It was actually a really good return for a man his size. The Broncos are slightly better than average, right? The Cowboys have such an explosive offense, but their defense is whatever the opposite word of explosive is, that's what their defense is. So their defense made the Broncos look better than they actually are. And they're a good team, but they're slightly above average. Bo Nix, they made him look like the second coming of Joe Montana. They really did. I mean, and he's a good quarterback. He's having a good year. And I do think, in spite of the coach that he has, whose name we do not call, he's a good quarterback coach. I think he's a good quarterback coach, and he's got Bo Nix playing better than he would have been playing otherwise. Now, let me real quick. You mentioned the Jets, Dolphins, and Ravens. I'll give it to you in 30 seconds. The Dolphins still suck. Mike McDaniels is still a failed experiment. The Ravens look less hideous than they did in previous weeks. The Jets got a win, and Justin Fields actually looks salvageable. And maybe all of this says that quarterback development in NFL is really at an all-time low. Maybe quarterbacks aren't being developed the way they used to be. So that's my take on the games.
Right. So, Larry, so how good, I mean, seriously, can the Broncos, I know the West is an interesting conference right now. How far can the Broncos go, Larry?
Oh, I expect them to make the playoffs, maybe even win a game there. I still think they'll have a hard time beating teams like Buffalo and Kansas City, or especially if they have to play both of them. But I think they're pretty good. I think playing Dallas is mentioned. Dallas has no defense, right. So I expected them to score on Dallas. I just thought that Dallas could score on them and make it a competitive game. But I think the Broncos are a decent team. One playoff win.
Yeah. How about you, David? How far can they go, Denver?
If they meet the Colts, they won't go far at all.
Hello.
It's as simple as that.
Agreed.
The Broncos are a good team. They've been kind of resurrected. Bo Nix is playing fairly well. They can go far if they don't have to face Kansas City or the Colts, right. The two best teams in the AFC.
Well, don't forget that Patrick Surtain was Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he's one of these kind of cornerbacks you can put on your best receiver and don't worry about him the rest of the game. He actually did that in the first half of that game. He kind of took 88 out the game, or am I overstating that, Greg?
No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And as a matter of fact, I watched him closely yesterday, and I'm telling you, he may not be a shutdown corner that we're used to from, Daryl or Dion and people like that, but he's pretty good. He may not be Revis Island, but he's pretty freaking good.
I agree. Any other comments about that particular game before we move on? Well, let's get I know you love that, coach. So let's get into the Packers-Steelers game. I think that game was that was Monday night, that game. And
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. You're right. It was Sunday night. And I don't know. I thought with Aaron Rodgers going back to Green Bay and facing Love, I thought that game was going to maybe turn out to be better. I thought there were some calls in that game. This is me as a fan watching the game. I thought there were some tricky calls in that game that maybe changed some things. But David, I know how you feel about Jordan Love, and I guess he completed 20 in a row in the second half at one point. What did you had a great, I think he was 29 for 37 for 360 yards?
360 yards.
3 touchdowns. So, and no interception. So what did you think of that game yesterday?
Green Bay is better than Pittsburgh, and Aaron Rodgers is only an average quarterback at this point. He's been great. He will go in the Hall of Fame. I'll give him all of his props, but he's just an average guy now. Pittsburgh needs more from the quarterback position at this point. He looks slow. He looks indecisive. I'm just not seeing the Aaron Rodgers that maybe Pittsburgh was expecting. He's suitable. He's better than what they had last year.
Right.
But that's all I can say for him. But Pittsburgh needs more. Pittsburgh lost the game when they lost their composure in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And everything kind of went south after that. I don't know. This could be the coach's Mike Tomlin's last year if they don't correct that, because they just look undisciplined to me.
Well, they made a big investment in their defensive side of the ball in the offseason. They added a couple corners, a lineman. I think they gave Bosa more money.
But what has Bosa done? Nothing. He's done nothing. But one quick thing to say about the Packers and Jordan Love, who you know that I was the first on his bandwagon.
You were.
In fact, I was with the reins at hand.
Right.
Jordan Love, 20 straight passes completed. When he plays like that, coupled with the defense they're getting from Micah Parsons, who I was wondering how good Micah Parsons was going to be in a Green Bay Packer uniform. But Jordan Love looked awesome. He looked like what Aaron Rodgers used to look like. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like that anymore. Right. That's all I'll say about that.
Only thing I would say about, and you're right, today is your day, and you're right about Jordan Love, and I don't have anything negative about Jordan Love to say today. However, he doesn't string enough of them together. Meaning,
well, he strung 20 together last night.
Well, I know.
Straight.
I know. I get that. We'll see what he does next week. Hey, Greg, what did you think of that game last night?
So I think, first of all, so this guy, man, Rodgers has become like a nuclear strength prima donna. He's always been a prima donna. He's like nuclear strength now. And so when something doesn't go his way, he's just short of kicking and screaming and running around on the floor in a circle like the Three Stooges. I will say, it's hard for the referees to miss 2 guys jumping off sides. I don't know how you missed that. And he assumed he had a free play, and everything after that was downhill. And he never got right, and he carried the whole team down the toilet with him. He carried and you know, their defense. So Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, these guys are old. They're not, and they keep talking about Cam Hayward being the anchor of the defense. He was trying to retire during Hard Knocks in season last year. Like, so, I mean, this guy is like, I think he will probably get in the Hall. I don't know if he's the first ballot, but I think he'll get in the Hall. But he's old. These guys are old. They're not the players that they used to be, but they're counting on this steel curtain days of old. Those days are gone. And Tomlin, I think Tomlin will survive this year unless things like go massively bad, like real quick. But he's got probably one more year of this, and the folks in Pittsburgh, they just aren't tolerant of mediocrity. They just aren't. That's a football town, man.
Larry, what did you think of last night's game?
I just thought they faced a better team. And as I was watching the game, even as Pittsburgh was leading, I thought it was just a matter of time before Green Bay caught up with them. And that's what happened. I'm not going to knock Rodgers too much. I don't think he played poorly. But But as Greg just mentioned, it seems like when they after the offside call, it just looked like the whole team went downhill. Not just the offense, the defense too. Right. And gave up a couple of big plays. They had like third down and long and Love at the last seconds completing deep passes. It was amazing. People were right in his face. So I got to give him credit.
Very close to being sacked, and then he was right.
Yes.
That was inches. Hey, David, I'll give you a chance to mention Love's new partner in terms of the receiving side of the football. What'd you think of old Tucker Kraft?
Pretty good.
The tight end.
Wow.
Pretty good. You have to have a tight end that you can rely on. Kansas City has one. The Colts are developing one. If you have, Gronk, Tom Brady had one. Actually, he used to have two until the murderer
Hernandez, right,
was revealed.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mention that, but you asked me.
Right. I think Kraft is the best tight end in football right now. I do. I think he's that good.
He could be.
He's had multiple.
Just don't overlook Kettle too much. Don't overlook Kettle too much.
I know Kittle's pretty good.
Dallas has a good one too, Ferguson.
I know, and so does Philadelphia. Gobert or whatever his name is, he's pretty good in Philadelphia as well. So
see, that's the whole point.
If you have a good tight end,
if you have a good tight end and you can rely on that person to bail you out, you might be going some places.
Right. How good, David, is Green Bay? Seriously.
Well, they're the second. They have the second best record in the NFL, behind the
awesome.
Indianapolis Colts. They could be, if they play the way they played last night in the third and fourth quarters, they could be in the Super Bowl. They could be. Right. Will they? Who knows? You got to play the game. Injuries occur. You never know. But they're right now, they are one of the best teams in the NFL.
Larry, what do you think of the Packers?
I got to admit, I think they're pretty good. I was kind of overlooking them after they had that tie game. Who was that, New York?
No, against Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
40-40 game.
Yeah. But and maybe that's more of a tribute to Dak playing well that particular day.
Right.
But they look pretty good and only lost one game so far, so I got to take my hat off to them.
Hey, Greg, before we move on to the Ravens and the Bears, any last thoughts on the Packers? How good are they? I mean, could they come out?
I thought they were really good. The way they throttled the Commanders, I thought I took a look at them even back then and said, man, these guys may be on to something. And then they had a few hiccups, but I think they're pretty good. I think they will be in the final run and right down there with the Buccaneers, Lions, and all. I think they'll be in the fight in the end. And the Eagles, don't want to read the Eagles, but those four teams, they'll be duking it out at the end of the season.
I admire their organization. The Packers have a good organization, good coaching, good general. I just like their organization. They're well run. So
it's like nonsense. The Packers are the most no nonsense franchise in NFL. You never hear foolishness or nonsense coming out of them.
You don't. I agree with you. No drama. All right, let's get into the Ravens and the Bears. Look, I think we all kind of sort of wrote off the Ravens. With Lamar being hurt, they were 1-5. We didn't know if they could recover. Based on the win yesterday against the Bears, they got a couple of their guys back. Larry, what did you think of that game? And do you think the Ravens are back on track?
Not sure if they're back on track, but they have a favorable schedule coming up.
They do.
So that might help them. But they finally played a game I think that we've been waiting for, even with their injuries. Most of the time, we probably, for a couple of weeks at least, we probably thought, they'll probably win this game. They'll probably win this game. Yesterday, I thought they were going to lose the game, particularly since Jackson didn't play, but they pulled it out. But back on track, big question mark as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think you said something, though, key right there is their schedule, Larry. I looked at that before we came on. They have the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, and the Bengals the next 5 games. One more time, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, and the Bengals.
How many of those teams do they have better records than?
Maybe none, but that's okay. They can beat those teams. Come on. You kidding me? Well, we'll see.
And vice versa. That's my point. I think they'll beat some of them. I don't know if they'll beat them all.
Right.
Big question mark.
Greg, what did you think of the Ravens? And are they back on track?
I think they're still terrible. I think they had a good day. I think they're still terrible. I do. I think they are still terrible. And if they don't hurry up and get Lamar back, I mean, I'm telling you, I think they're still a terrible team. And the team you're talking about, they can win these games. That's you. Those Ravens have left the building. Those Ravens are not here anymore.
They'll go 5-0 the next 5 games you guys watch. David, did you have any thoughts about yesterday? And I noticed, how about the Bears side of this game yesterday, David? What did you think of the game? And what did you think of the Bears' performance? Because they had been playing better.
They've been playing better, but so what? They're in a division with the Packers and Detroit. They're not going anywhere. They're not.
So what?
Right. Do you think the Ravens have gotten back on track, David?
No, I'm with Greg.
Really?
No, they can't stop anybody. They were playing the Bears. The Bears are turnover waiting to happen from time to time. They're still not totally disciplined, and I'm not sold on their offensive-minded head coach. Later for that.
Well,
this is from a guy who grew up as a diehard Bears fan.
Yeah,
I was all because that's all we got on TV here in Indianapolis.
Right.
And Gale Sayers was my guy. Dick Butkus was my guy.
Right.
But those two guys are not walking through the door. And neither is Mike Ditka either.
I think
Walter Payton.
you did have somebody like some people in '85 that were pretty good.
In '85, that's the last time I cheered for him.
I mean, after Dicker and Sayers left, they did have a good run.
They had a good run for
Right.
1 or 2 years.
I mean, Peyton. But that defense was the key of that '85 team.
That's the greatest
Well,
single
they're Walter
season
Payton,
team
too.
of all time. I don't think we can debate that.
No,
If you want to debate me, I'll debate
I
you.
won't argue. I won't argue with you about that. So listen, we talked about the Bears. DeAndre Swift last week against our Commanders, he looked.
Wow.
Speaking of Gale Sayers, he looked like Gale Sayers that day. He was unbelievable.
Stop.
Well, my point is,
That's
he looked really good.
sacrilege.
Well, I'm saying he looked really good. Yesterday, the Ravens bottled him up.
Okay,
that's
just
what I
say he
think.
looked good.
Well, the
He's
Ravens got Roquan Smith back yesterday. And Roquan is the captain of that defense. He can go side to side. He can stop the run. He can check in. I think Roquan Smith being back in that defense and number 14, Hamilton, that defense looked okay to me.
in one game.
I
They
know.
only won 2 games so far.
I know.
Let's win 3.
I know.
Yeah, Chuck, that's what I was saying. Yesterday was the game we've been thinking that they could win.
Right.
They finally won one.
I have another interesting point about that game, too, which is just interesting. So they tried to play a quarterback named Cooper Flag. Who's the quarterback that they had in there the week before?
Cooper,
Dallas.
Dallas. The guy used to be in Dallas.
Right.
Not Cooper Flag.
Cooper Rush.
Rush.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper
Okay.
Rush.
So my question is, and I think this is so stupid. Tyler Scoop Huntley is more like Lamar, right? Why wouldn't they have used him as the backup in these weeks that Lamar is out? Because they wouldn't have had to have changed much. And I thought they looked better with Scoop in there than they did with the other guy. What'd you think about that, David?
I think John Harbaugh was overthinking himself. I think that's the problem. If you just use your common sense,
Right.
play somebody who's played with you before and move forward. And they did yesterday.
Yep. They look better, too. How about you, Greg? Did you have any thoughts about that? Did you find that interesting?
All right, so Chuck, the reason they didn't play Huntley is the same reason they stopped giving Henry the ball, because they're doing stupid things these days, and I don't know why. It's just one dumb thing after another one, and they're not as bad as they're playing. They're not.
Right.
They're not
I
as bad.
agree.
But to your point, I think Harbaugh just outthinks himself sometimes, and it's just stupid. Now, David, you took me back for a second. So 1 year at the Hall of Fame, I got to meet the Kansas Comet, Gale Sayers. Let me tell you. First of all, he's the tallest running back I've ever seen. He was really tall. Nicest dude, man. Just a good cat. Just a good brother all around. And I'm looking at him thinking, man, I did not realize he was that tall, because now running backs are shorter just because that's the prototype. That's a good model. But man, I wouldn't mention Swift in the same sentence with Gail Sayers.
Yeah, so that was bad. That was bad of me.
Yes, it was.
But
I thought he was using hyperbole. I thought he was using hyperbole.
No,
I
was
don't
just-
think he really thought that.
Once again, the voice of reason prevails.
every show, the voice of reason prevails. Every show.
I thought it for a long time. I thought it was hyperbole, really.
Right, okay. Larry, did you were you surprised that now that we've looked back on it, that the Ravens didn't go ahead and use Scoop Huntley versus Cooper Rush?
I mean, I'll only assume that maybe, Rush had outperformed him in practice and he was the number 2 quarterback and he wasn't afraid to make a move after that didn't work. So he went to number 3.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Keep an eye on those Ravens based on, let me one more time. Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals.
So the Jets are the only one they have a better record than. So their record is what their record is too.
Okay. Hey, give me your bet. Hey, give me this. This is an interesting question this week. So, looking back over the weekend, so who was what 2 players stood out to you? Like caught your attention, either good or bad. David, give me 2 players that caught your attention over the weekend.
Okay. The number 1 runner in football, who should be and will be, if they're fair, the MVP of the league, Jonathan Taylor. 4 games he's run for 3, scored 3 touchdowns in 4 different games.
Yep.
He's leading the league in rushing. He breaks long, not just 10, 12-yard runs. He did an 80-yard run yesterday and tightrope down the sideline. He's just a great back. He's been a great back, provided, we can only hope that Indiana Jones and Jonathan Taylor stay healthy. If they do, the Colts are the best team in the league this year. If they lose either one of them, they're going to struggle a little bit. The second player, you know how much I admire Jordan Love.
Yes, I do.
I give a lot of credit to Drake May.
Yeah.
He's helping New England reinvent itself.
Yeah.
Drake May is playing very, very well. 2nd year in the league.
Yep.
And he shows like he belongs in the NFL.
Yeah, they're 6-2. New England is 6-2. How about you? Those are 2 good ones too, David. Your offensive line must be unbelievable, because not only is he rushing, but you guys don't sack Daniel Jones either. So they're both pass blocking and they're running the ball. It's great.
They're doing some different things because the offensive line that they paid big dollars for the last number of years was failing. They've re-energized that offensive line. They're making smarter adjustments, and guys are making plays. Yeah. And Jonathan Taylor, it isn't just the line itself. Jonathan Taylor has a good eye for the hole, and he explodes through it. He's not just a regular running back. Yeah. He sees the hole and goes right at it.
Yep, no doubt. Like I said, it's your week. Nothing I can say. You're 100% right about that. So,
thank you very much.
Greg, the 2 people stand out to you this weekend. Again, good or bad?
Okay, so I got 2 that stood out for good play and 1 that stood out. I'll mention him first.
Only pick out 2 because I got to pick, Greg. So only take 2.
Okay, all right. Well, the other one is because of something that's not even play related, right? Okay, so first off, I got to go with Jonathan Taylor. Unbelievable. Yeah. He is on track for MVP. The only reason if he gets it, Saquon should have gotten it last year, right? So it's hard for a running back, but I really think, but he's having that kind of year. Secondly, Micah Parsons transforms a 4-man rush into a blitz. I mean, he really does. This guy is just so freaking incredible. He put so much pressure on the quarterback. The only other one I wanted to mention was Cam Scatterbo, and prayers up. The injury was hideous, and I hated to see that happen because I'm such a fan of his. I've been a fan of his since he was at Arizona State. I was like, this guy is so special, man, and I hated this. And he was having a great game, and I hate to see him get injured. So I hopefully he can come back from it. So
yeah, I think the good news is it was his ankle and not his knee, and so but we'll see. And the reason I say that is because Charles broke his ankle in college, and I think I don't know. I think it's better.
His foot was pointing in another direction. I mean,
David will talk about this. Remember when Paul George's leg was pointed the wrong way?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
It was that was what it reminded me of. It was just, but that was it though. Jonathan Taylor and Michael Parsons.
Larry.
So I'm going to jump on the bandwagon with Taylor. The play that David said he tiptoed down the sideline. Two people had opportunities to just push him out of bounds, and they couldn't do that. You know, they hit him near the sideline. He just flicked them off, and then he turned on the Jets, and nobody could touch him. Yeah. But the other person I'll mention in a losing cause was Myles Garrett. He got 5 sacks yesterday. They could not block him. And he had a few more pressures. I was watching Red Zone. Every time they switch to it, it's a defensive player making a play. Great game.
That was a very good call out right there.
I love it.
They still got smashed, but he did play his butt off. I'll jump in here too and add my 2 real quick. Mine was, and we talked about it earlier, is this guy Tucker Kraft, that tight end from the Packers. I think he had a hell of a week. And I think Saquon bounced back, right? We hadn't seen Saquon all year, and he had 150 yards and a touchdown. He had 45 yards and catching and a touchdown. So it was good to see Saquon back on track too. So good. Anything? Oh, give me your best 3 teams for the AFC. I'll start with you, David. AFC 3 best.
Number 1, Colts. Number 2, Patriots. Number 3, Chiefs.
Good one. Good. How about you? How about you, Greg? Your 3 AFC.
I'll make it quick. I got the same 3.
Yeah.
I got the same 3. I'll make it quick. Colts,
how about you,
Patriots, and Bills. I'm sorry, Chiefs.
How about you, Larry?
I have Colts, Chiefs, and Buffalo.
Okay. I have Indy, Chiefs, but I have Denver. I got Denver in my 3. How about on the NFC side, David?
Packers, Lions, Eagles.
Greg?
Eagles, Buccaneers, Seahawks.
Wow. Nice. Larry?
Philly, Lions, and not in any particular order. Philly, Lions, and Green Bay.
Oh, interesting. You see, I have Philly, Lions, and the Bucks. What we're saying there is the NFC is still pretty wide open, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of teams that can come out of the NFC based on how the season goes. There's a lot of good teams there. So, all right. Anything else about the week 9 of the NFL that you guys want to talk about? If not, we're going to move on to college football. All right. College football. Well, look. I'll start off by just getting this out the way. It looks like Ohio State and Indiana are just going to have a collision come December 6th. Where's that game, David?
At Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, downtown, walking distance from the convention center, from the hotels, from St. Elmo's Steakhouse, where you've been to all those places.
Oh, I have. No, I have. It's a great
You admire
time.
our downtown.
I do. I ain't gonna lie. It's unbelievable. They host those things well. But anyway, they look like they're on a collision. Both of them are undefeated. They're heading that direction. We'll just table that. We'll see how that goes. But those two, we'll see what happens in that. That would be a heck of a Big Ten championship game if they stay on track the way they are. Now, we've been losing these coaches, guys, in the middle of the season. I mean, these are not your regular coaches. Brian Kelly is a good coach. James Franklin is a good coach. We've got a lot of openings now, right? What's your thoughts on that? Let's start with you, Larry. What's your thoughts on these changes of these coaches in the middle of the season with these huge buyouts?
Apparently that the schools are getting money from someplace because it's already bad enough that they're the top paid state employee, but now they're paying them up to $50 million not to work, And so all I can see is that the boosters are certainly contributing and the schools are listening to the boosters.
Greg, any thoughts about what in the heck? UCLA lost their coach this year. Virginia Tech lost their coach this year. Florida lost their coach this year. We're only in week, we're just halfway through the season. What in the heck is going on?
So I think that Penn State, Florida, UCLA, and Virginia Tech, those coaches went into the season on the bubble. They went into the season on the bubble. And I think that they had already had a booster meeting and they had already gathered up the funds because if it goes this way, here's what we're going to do. I think LSU, Brian Kelly, to a much lesser degree, I think he's had an in-season implosion. And the fact that he's so arrogant and so obnoxious made $54 million palatable. I mean, he's an incredibly obnoxious man. He really is. And so one thing I will say too, these programs are impatient, man. The concept of rebuilding has been stripped from the lexicon of college football. It's gone. With the advent of the portal, the transfer portal, and NIL, you have like a year or two at best to show signs of like really delivering them from the pits of hell. And if you can't do that, you're going to be gone very soon. You have to win immediately. The only person I've seen that really has shown the ability to just adjust to this new world order and get it done is Mr. Signetti.
Hello.
Mr. Signetti.
Yeah.
He gets it. He gets it on another level.
The expectations are different there too. David, what in the world is going on in college football with these coaches? And these are the coaches at the big programs too. Because UVA, for example, UVA has hung in there with their coach over the last couple of years.
Well, UVA is at a different level, and they're in the ACC, so they don't have the same kind of pressure, but pressure is all over college football now. The landscape has changed dramatically. As Greg was saying, you've got NIL, the transfer portal, the pressure's on. All the boosters who were hidden behind the scenes, handing out under table money, they're out in the open now. They can express their displeasure. And Brian Kelly, dead man walking, the moment he did the fake Southern accent when he was introduced as the coach of LSU. What a phony. He's a phony. He needed to be fired. LSU is a solid program with multiple national championships. They don't need a phony, fake Southern accent clown. I'm sorry.
Well, he was Jaden's coach, and Jaden won that Heisman. Larry was on to something several weeks ago, or maybe it was last season, when he talked about how Washington had this guy. Who was the general manager of the Washington Redskins at that time in the 80s, who had a great—
Charlie Casserly?
Bobby
Bethel. But now hold that thought. Because what I'm going to say now is, you look at teams like Vanderbilt 7-1, UVA 7-1, Indiana 7-0, BYU. I know they're pretty good.
Georgia Tech
7-0. So it seems to me that the smart places who know how to spend the money properly, who can put together teams, who has an eye for talent and can put the thing together, it seems like that is separating those coaches and organizations are separating themselves from the guys who want to spend the bucks, right? And just bringing all the talent and maybe can't put that thing together. At least that's what I assess. Do you think that makes any sense, David?
It makes some sense, absolutely. But these schools are still looking for a big splash.
Right.
That's why, what's his name from Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah. Kiffin. Yeah.
Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's name has been up for every opening possible. Why? Because he might make a big splash.
Right.
When you really look and examine his record, it's spotty. Right. What did he do at USC? Nothing. What did he do in the pros? Nothing. He struggled Now he's found a place. He needs to stay at Ole Miss
I agree.
and
I
build
agree.
that program up and become
Totally.
an institution there.
Yeah.
Right. Greg, does that make sense? Does it seem like the smart schools or the smart organizations or the smart programs,
Well,
I don't care about the size of them, they seem like they're spending the money wisely, it looks like.
I think it's premature to give Vanderbilt a whole lot of dap.
I don't. They
It's-
were good last
it's
year
early.
too, David. They were good.
Well,
last
I
year.
mean, but how many years have they been good? James Franklin had a few good years
I
that
agree. It's
springboarded
not-
him to Penn State.
Right.
Now, if Vanderbilt, when I'm a really old man and don't even know who's playing, if they're still around, then I'll
Right.
give them credit. If this show is still around 10 years from now.
Well, Indiana's only been good for 2 years too, David. Come on now.
Don't get me started on Indiana. You know how much I care
All
for
right,
them.
I won't. Hey, Greg, do you think they're spending the money? I mean, what do you think about this?
So I think one of the things that if you get inside each one of these programs, the ones that are doing well and really kind of on the come up have these really good GMs. So every college that you can't, these coaches that think they can do everything are over. And even if somebody who brings in a GM as a figurehead, you got to bring somebody in that really knows how to manage that payroll, manage the money, manage the transfer portal, and keeping chemistry all in mind. I mean, I know we're gonna get to these undefeated teams, but I gotta be honest with you. Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M are the only legitimate undefeated teams to me. The rest of them are fluff. I mean, they're like they're paper lions. Georgia Tech is undefeated. The best team they beat is Virginia Tech, and they just fired their coach. So if you look at who they beat, I mean, BYU, same thing. Most of the people they beat are right off the scrap heap. I mean, these teams are terrible, but they got these records, and so they stack the schedule. Wait till playoffs. If they make it to the playoffs, they'll get dusted so fast it won't even be funny. I mean, Vanderbilt, I think, is better than every undefeated team other than Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Other than that, they're better than all these other undefeated teams.
I agree. Larry, do you think Smart is winning in college football, meaning the ability to put together all this stuff together under the money and picking players and selling players on coming to your school and that whole thing?
Yeah, what it seems like is they're having a lot of schools I started reading are mimicking the pros. They have a general manager that handles their payroll. So you have to do that balance. And there's always going to be some conflict between the coach and the GM. Probably the same thing exists on a college level with on the pros. So a lot of times on the college level, the coach definitely has the edge.
Right.
Some of these coaches have had a hard time adjusting to that.
Right.
Well, I got a question about NIL and the transfer portal. A lot of the players, of course, preparing for the pros opt out of the bowl games. And of course, the championship games, they're still playing, but that might change. Are there clauses in the NIL contracts that require players to play through the entire season? If there are not any clauses, then it's worthless. It's paper stuff. That's what
I can tell you what I know. I have a good friend who has a company who that's what he did. He used to work for the Redskins. He used to be the VP of communications. So now he has a company. All he does is NIL. It is the wild, wild west. And this is why the White House was trying to jump into it. First of all, they want to skim a little money. I know we're a sports show, but let's go. They're trying to skim what they can for themselves. But it's the most unregulated part of college sports right now, and it's all over the place. So the short answer to your question, from what I know, is there's no stipulation on what you have to play in. It's NIL money. Here's what we're paying you to do. There's no stipulation on how many games. This is what we.
But it should be. If you're paying all
that.
that money, you should be required to play the entire season.
It may vary, David. It may vary because there's no union there. I mean, it's probably no uniformity. Some people might put stuff like that in there.
Well, I wish they should.
Yeah.
They should.
Well, if you got two schools competing against each other and somebody says, I'm going to put it in there, and the other school says no, I might
Well, I mean, but why not these contracts act like regular contracts in pro sports, since they got a general manager and all of that, and they're trying to mimic the NFL and the NBA and all of that. Require, well, the contract could stipulate if I was Ohio State and I could potentially lose a bunch of players, I'd require them to play. If I'm paying you $2 million a year, which is possible at Ohio State, you better damn sure play through the entire. If we didn't make the playoffs, you better play the bowl game that we're playing.
But David, if another team is offering him $2 million and those stipulations aren't in there, they might go.
Well, I'm just saying that they should
standardize it.
They should put it in there. It doesn't have to even be standardized. If I'm Ohio State and I'm putting out a contract for NIL money for these kids, I'd say I'm gonna pay you $2 million, but you got to play in the entire season.
If you have the leverage to do that, yeah. But what's going to stop somebody from saying I'm hurt?
I tell you one thing I heard Nick Saban talk about. He talked about how, and you notice no Alabama players when he was coaching would sit out bowl games. They played in every game because what they did, they took money and set aside for a Lloyd's of London contract insurance policy. So, and it depended on who the player was. They would put so much in a policy that if you get hurt in this bowl game, here's your $10 million. So they weren't just flying blind. They weren't leaving themselves exposed. And I'm not saying that's the answer to everything, but I thought that was just so innovative. I thought he was way ahead of the curve from a lot of his contemporaries in doing that.
People have done that for years too. People have done that for years, Greg. If they have a career in an injury, a lot of top athletes have done that. Usually,
but I've never heard of a program. I've never heard of a program doing it.
Yeah,
but that was pre-NIL.
It was pre-NIL.
Ways of dealing. And now you have players who are making in college more than they will make in the pros.
Right.
More than they will make in the pros. So I will be damned if you're going to not play in my bowl game. I will be damned if you're not going to play in my playoff game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, interesting discussion. And I think the NIL and whole travel or the portal thing, it's still evolving. They're still trying to figure it all out. And I'm about anything that gives the players the leverage that I am about the organization.
Amen to that.
The leverage. I'm all about the players. I want to know where all that money went prior to NIL and all this stuff. Who was getting all that money being generated by the players?
Look at the houses and homes of the players' families.
And the administrators, right.
People that can pay people $50 million not to coach.
There you go.
Not to coach. Anything else about college football? Keep an eye on that Texas A&M. I do like it. You're right, Greg. I do like that team. But anything else about college football you guys want?
I don't trust Texas A&M.
So the
best team that Ohio State has defeated this year?
Say what?
Nobody.
Who's the best team that Ohio State has defeated?
I don't think
you thought it was Texas at first, right?
And they turned out to be a joke, right?
Right.
And I was in Columbus. Yeah.
But I will say this too. Ohio State, for me, and maybe maybe my network is just not good, but they are the least televised number one college football team I've ever seen. They're almost never on TV. And listen, maybe they aren't as good as I think as I thought they were.
Well, I think
maybe
one of the games that are on TV are those big matches of teams like the ranked teams, and like Larry said, they haven't played nobody to put them on television. So
and Ohio State might not be that good. I tell you what, Indiana sure looks like they're that good.
They do. They really do. They really do.
They're just awesome. Awesome.
Please don't let them lose to Penn State.
I know. At Penn State.
They're not going to lose at Penn State. Signetti is going to run it up to 70 points against Penn State.
Please don't let that happen.
Everybody's scheduled Penn State for homecoming this year.
Believe me, I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about that, Larry. That's a good point you just made. We're going to switch to something that I usually, and you guys know this over the last 4, 5, 6 years we've been doing this. I don't really like to get into that NBA thing in October, but my God, what a week we had in the NBA this week. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about and I know Larry can't wait. I know he's just like waiting to take off on this. I mean, you look at Wemby and Shea and Luka and Steph. I mean, you just got this every night. There was something amazing that happened. So Larry, I'll start with you. What caught your attention in the last week? And you can go ahead and talk forever. I know a lot of it caught your attention.
I just watch the games. Games like that appear periodically throughout the season. They just happen to broadcast their opening game. First 2 games for Oklahoma City, good competition, and double overtime. The one thing that's concerning me is the number of injuries. I think I may have briefly mentioned last week. You got Tatum out, Halliburton's out, Anthony Edwards is going to be out for 2 weeks now. LeBron James is out, Van Fleet is out,
and Luka.
Jaden Williams hasn't played yet, and I'm like, okay, I'm hoping injuries don't ruin this. It looks like the NFL here with so many stars out. But I think the games have been pretty competitive, and it's a lot of good teams. I think the way I felt about the women, where I thought they had very deep squads and balance. A lot of NBA teams, unfortunately not all like my local team, but a lot of NBA teams have pretty deep rosters. Austin Reeves throws at 51 last night.
Yeah. What's that all about? What is that all about?
And, my buddy Mike Woodson is the assistant coach of Sacramento. That game was in Sacramento, and Austin gave him 51 with no Luka, no LeBron. Are you kidding me?
And he wasn't drafted.
How about that? Greg, what's your reaction to the first week of the NBA?
I mean, I could not believe opening night. Opening night, I was up, all night, man. I was just like, I can't believe this. And I will tell you, I know I said it at the end of last season, the athletes that the Indiana Pacers have are just amazing. I mean, these guys are just really good athletes. They're good basketball players, but they're just good, strong, solid athletes. The thing that's got me
they're a pretty good 0-3 team, aren't they?
I mean, they
You
are.
had to mention that, didn't you?
Okay.
They got a deep squad and they show up, though. I got to give that to them.
They will.
Yeah.
Oh, they will. Listen, so Wemby is amazing to me, right? Wembanyama, first of all, think about this. So in the offseason, he did more, and we're all old enough to remember this guy, George Plimpton. He did more in the offseason than George Plimpton, right? So he trained at a Shaolin temple. He played soccer in Costa Rica and Japan. He trained with Hakeem Olajuwon, and he hosted this thing called Hoop Gambit, which is in his hometown of Le Chesnay in France, which is a combination of basketball and chess. But everything he did was to get himself together for the season. It was either physical or mental. And somewhere along that journey, looking at him in the first few games that I've seen, somewhere along that journey, he realized, I really am Superman. I really can do things that nobody else on this floor can do. And I'm telling you, this dude is, the skill, the agility, his body, his hand-eye coordination, his body, his feet, and Olajuwon and the soccer. When you see his foot movement, that's Olajuwon and playing soccer. Those two things right there. I just think the sky's the limit for this young man. I think he
grew 2 inches.
Well,
7'2", 7'3", 7'4", 7. Who cares, right? It's all right.
He's incredible. So I'm thrilled with his zeal, his missionary zeal to get better. Not all players are like that. He has a missionary zeal to get better.
He's 21 years old. They're 3-0, and Fox hasn't even played yet. And I agree with you. I'll tell you, I give David some credit. David's been talking about Wemby since a year ago. David saw this coming, and I think we all did, but good grief. It has gotten here quicker than I thought it was going to get here. David, what's your thoughts about the first week?
I just want to jump in before David.
Just go ahead.
He's got more blocks than certain teams. He's got – I think I saw something where he'd be like ranked 6 or something compared to teams. Amazing.
Well, hold on. Since you did that, I want to make one point. One time he blocked 2 shots, right? Then he came down court, and you know where Steph shoots threes from? He pulled up on purpose, and he was 2 steps behind the 3, and it knocked it down. I said, "What?" I thought it was AI generated.
I'm telling you.
I saw that game.
Well, let me say this.
David,
Wembanyama is the second coming of Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was so transformational in 1959, 1960, 61, 62. Wembanyama is that great. He's the only player you can really compare him to historically is Wilt Chamberlain.
that's a good point. He's athletic as hell. He can run. The ball handling for somebody his size is just, I can't say enough. I'm telling you, I am. They've got something down there, don't they, David?
San Antonio is a home of champions.
So could he win? Let me ask you this question, David. Could he win MVP this season?
If he stays uninjured and stays healthy, he might win MVP. But San Antonio's got to win some games.
Yeah.
They've got to threaten Oklahoma City, and whether they can do it, because remember Oklahoma City, they got 2 7-footers in the starting lineup.
They're loaded, and then they have the current MVP of the NBA, who only had 55 points.
SGA is just awesome. The mid-range jumper is just ridiculous.
David, Larry, can he win MVP this year? Wembanyama?
I think it's possible. It's a lot of good players in that league. But he's certainly one of them. He keeps going like he's going. He'll be in the running.
It's hard to. How about you, Greg? Any last words about that?
I think he can. I think he absolutely can. The West is so stacked with great teams and talent. I mean, the poor East, man. The East is like the G League almost, man.
I mean,
Luka
had 49. Luka had 49 and 43 last week. 49 and 43 in the only 2 games he played.
Crazy.
I'll tell you a guy that can still play is Milwaukee, the Greek Freak. He averaged.
Oh yeah.
He was the second leading scorer last year and shot over 60%, and nobody even talked about him being MVP, mainly because his team wasn't that good. Because he's had a lot of misfortune with this number 2 person getting hurt the last few years. But if they can stay healthy, I've seen him play a couple of games. He's still good.
Wow.
And Milwaukee is such a lost market. That Milwaukee market is such a lost market. They never get televised, man. Yeah. He doesn't get.
David talks about how those kind of teams don't know how to market their stars, or he blames the NBA. I don't know, but you're right. They don't always get the love that maybe that they should or whatever. But Giannis is still a great player.
They were getting it when they had Middleton, and then he got hurt, and then Dame got hurt. They were putting him on last year, but injuries have really just killed him.
Right.
Yeah.
So David, did you like channel NBC's version of Chuck and Shaq and that whole thing?
You mean ESPN's version?
Well, yeah,
it's the same. It's exactly what they were doing on TNT. They brought the same studio. They're still in Atlanta. Charles Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie. They're the best, most cohesive group of guys that's ever been on TV in the sports role. And their chemistry is just awesome. And ESPN needed that because they try to manufacture that with minor leaguers.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, look, that's it.
Hey, can I comment on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have the polar opposite view to David. I think they're okay. To me, it's a bunch of buffoonery. Their grammar is incredibly poor. I could take or leave them. They seem like buffoons sometimes. And I guess some people, I might be the get off my lawn old guy. Something
yes,
like
you
that.
are. Yes,
But
you are.
I don't think they necessarily add a lot to the telecast.
Greg.
I love them, man. I live for them. I love what they do.
The advertisers love them too.
Well, I don't watch the pregame, so I don't care. Right?
That's kind of
Pre
like,
and post and
I don't
halftime.
watch anybody's pregame. I don't care.
And the post game is where it's really off the chain. That's where it's really off the chain, the post game. Pre-game and halftime is one thing, but after the game, oh, they go buck wild. Oh, they go.
You know what I really like though is the rebirth of the NBC music.
Yes.
The music, yes.
John Tesh's music
Yep.
was well, I was about to say something.
Right. We got the gist. Right.
I mean, that is the best sports music I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's iconic. It's iconic. It really is.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it is.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Larry, who wins the World Series?
I'm going to still say the Dodgers. Still say
Greg,
the
who wins
Dodgers.
the World Series?
Stand with the
Toronto.
Dodgers.
Toronto.
Okay, 2 Dodgers and a Toronto, and I'm gonna say Toronto too. So we're split. All right. We're gonna wrap this up. Does anybody have any closing comments? I'll start with you, David. Any closing comments?
Come to Indianapolis. You'll find sports is important here.
Good food too.
Thank you.
Leave the guy who's delivering the chicken grease. Leave him alone now, please. Greg, any closing comments?
Okay. Yes. So I want to talk about the NBA so-called gambling scandal, right? So first of all, it is the biggest farce in modern sports history, right? So what Chauncey Billups did, Rozier, it's bad. But if you're telling me that you've been investigating a gambling scandal for 2 years and it involves the Gambino family, the Genovese family, the Lucchese family, and the Bonanno family, and all you can talk about is Chauncey Billups and Rozier, listen, how about Ernest Aiello, Julius J. Zellini with the Bonanno family? How about Lou Appalachia with the Gambino family? How about Matthew the Wrestler Dandino and Lee Fama identified as associates of the Genovese crime family? How about Ruggiero, who is John Gotti's underboss's son? All these people, and you're telling me that Chauncey Billups is the one that you follow after being arraigned with a camera? Listen, man, Chauncey Billups has made a mistake, and they're going to have to pay for it. But don't not mention 12 associates of crime families out of New York when you talk about gambling. And by the way, don't keep telling me about FanDuel and ESPN, all these betting sites, and now you got a problem. I know this was poker. It was different. They were doing some different things, but gambling is gambling. You can't sanction it here and blow people's career up over there. It's a disaster and it's a mess. That's all
I got to say, you, Greg, they should know better. They should know better. That's all I'm saying. Any final words?
Yeah, mine's going to be a non-sports. Thoughts and prayers going out to the people in Jamaica. I was there earlier this year. Met a lot of nice people, and they're being hit with a major storm as we speak right now. So I'm just hoping and praying that it's not going to be too disastrous. I'm hoping no deaths or serious injuries. And I want to extend the same prayers to Haiti, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic, and Turks and Caicos, other places that's scheduled to hit.
Well done.
Amen.
Well done. Prayers up. Well, listen, guys, as always, you guys were amazing again. We're going to take on that gambling thing, Greg, at some later point, because I think we should all take a second and really get into that a little bit. My short answer to that is, I mean, don't be involved in that nonsense. That's a shame. If you're making $26 million, why you got to be fooling around with that nonsense? So anyway.
Hey, so I'll tell you one more thing. I have one theory about it. I think that Rozier and Billups, I think these guys got in debt to these mob families, and they got in a position where they didn't have a choice. That's how they own you. That's how they get you. You get in debt to them. You can't pay your bet. Well, here's what you're going to do for us. You're going to get these fish in, and you're going to get these chumps in so we can make money off them. But we own you until we say your debt's paid.
Or you die.
Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that at a later date. You guys were amazing. Thanks again. Wonderful show. Look, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining in.